Hello and welcome to another episode of Honest or Malt with myself, Duncan Donuts. And guess who's back? Back again. Guess who's back?
Mikey's back.
Mikey's back. Back again. Guess
With a
who's back?
improved
Guess who's back? Guess who's back?
Immune system.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, I've been back for one episode because we did one in between, which hasn't been released yet. But for the listeners,
Yeah, that's true. We recorded two back to back and then Mike wasn't around for the SMWS episode.
And then I died.
Yeah. Jungle Film.
That was horrible. Honestly, I went from like perfectly fine to freezing cold, body shutting down, shivering.
Body shutting down.
Warm.
I love that.
And I just got into bed at like 6 o'clock.
We're lucky you're still around. It was touch and go for a while, wasn't it?
Mate, honestly. People over-exaggerate these things. I'm not one of them.
No.
I thought I was a goner. I redrafted the will.
How with a fever, barely able to concentrate. The things to not do when you are completely out of your mind. Redo your will. So, what's the name of the episode today, then, Mike, my friend?
So we are episode 81, and it is Lochs, Laga, and Logomachy.
Ooh.
Oh, I think I nailed it.
I think
first
you nailed
time.
that. Oh, look it up.
I said a new word for me, Logomachy, an argument about words.
Verbiage.
Yeah, it's very good. I liked it.
Yeah, I wonder what those things could be in reference to. Because we are episode 81, as you so eloquently pointed out.
Yep.
And that is a very significant year in whiskey, isn't it?
So the lock element of the title, obviously the whiskey locks or whiskey lakes, kick-started in 1981. So massive decline in the whiskey industry. So I thought, not a bad little topic to talk about today, just the sort of the current state of affairs around whiskey, purchasing, pricing, auctions, everything else, you name it.
We don't need to get that heavy today. But we don't need to get that heavy today, but you know.
But we can do it with a smile.
It was a dark time in the industry.
It wasn't a fucking dark time. The purchase I've had this week is glorious.
Right, well let's get into what's been in your glass and what's been up your arse then.
So in my glass, I have been this week drinking a little tasting pack from Cairo Distillery.
Never.
A friend of mine, Dan, moved out to Finland, and when he came back recently, we met up for a bit of food, baby get together, and then gave me
what's the hand signals you did?
Baby get together. That's the official sign language, BSL.
Mike made like two swans talking to each other with his hands, and that's baby get together.
Yeah, that was the wives nattering.
Right.
Cut. Yes, so 4 whiskies, all from Cairo, 47.2% across the range.
Oh, yeah, Cairo, Kyro. The way you're saying it's making me think Cairo, like the Egyptian thing.
That's the Egyptian
But no,
whiskey.
you mean Cairo with the funny dots over the O and stuff.
That's it. 2 originals and then 2 smoked.
Right.
And not bad. I like the original. Pretty good going. I'm just drinking at the moment the Freshwater Peat smoked whiskey.
Freshwater Peat smoked whiskey.
2 out of 5 for me, I've got to be honest. It's probably the worst of the 4.
I've tried five Kairos before on a stand at Kendall and at one other whiskey, so I've got a sense of it.
Yeah,
it's bold rye whiskey.
Really good. Like the original, lovely. Could have easily mistaken that for a good quality American rye.
Right, okay.
Is exactly what they want to achieve. But I think the most interesting one for me was the wood smoke, and they smoked the whiskey using alder wood. Yeah, just amazing tasting. It was like nose, lemon lockets, horseradish, bread sauce, sage, honey, limes. Yeah, it was mental.
Get me a roast now. Get me some beef and a Yorkie pud with some gravy.
Big beef shoulder. Palette-wise, honey, lemon bonbons, I said smoked almonds from that alder smoke, and then just more sage and ginger. Absolutely batshit crazy dram, but I really, really enjoyed it. So if you do come across that one, the Alderwood Wood Smoke, I highly recommend it.
Sounds good.
That's pretty much all that's been in my glass.
In the whole week, right?
Yeah, I've been taking it.
So what's been annoying you then? What's been up your ass?
Bit of a weird one.
Just leave it like that. Don't say anymore. Say no more. Just leave it at that.
So obviously with Isla, I've had a lot of Bluey on the telly as we're in the sort of late afternoons.
Yeah, Bluey's probably one of the greatest kids' TV shows ever made. It's so funny.
Disney have got them all.
Oh, Disney own them all, do they? Oh, they mean they're on the Disney Channel. Right,
and it's class. So I was on the Disney Channel, it was on my profile, and she went to bed. So I went downstairs, like just flicked back, and Star Wars came up, and I went, oh, do you know what? I haven't watched the original Star Wars trilogy in ages, and it's like such a outstanding memory of my childhood, the toys, everything else, and everyone like raves how great the films are. I've raved how great they are. People should watch them. Utter shite.
Which one did you watch? Or just all of them?
All three. Utter fucking wank. Like, I can't.
This is your Beatles moment. You're having this is like your Beatles moment. Like when I talk about how bad some of the Beatles songs are, you're having your own Beatles moment now.
Oh, the acting, terrible. The speed of the story, terrible. Like, I was just like, what the hell? How was this good? Like, don't get me wrong, the special effects in the 80s must have been, or 70s, 80s must have been great, but just awful. And what I would say, which I never thought I would say, the sequels, the recent ones, 10 times better. Actually, like, really enjoying those because I'm doing the whole thing.
You're a guy with almost no free time.
Yeah, mate, you got to
watch every Star Wars movie ever made, right?
That 2-hour window when she goes to sleep, and I'm just like, right, this is like recording time now. This is when I'd be watching a film just to get something in, a little break in my mind. So yeah, that's been up my arse. Star Wars, at a wank. Looking forward to the new stuff. How about you? What's been in your glass? Firstly,
well, just standard stuff in the cupboard, but few exciting things. One,
a few moments later.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So what's been in my glass is some samples from Midlands bourbon.
Well done.
Not Tom Stade. Somebody else. Don't know. I'm not sure of your actual name, fella, but thanks very much. I'll have to look it up. But thank you very much. You sent me some samples we did in exchange. It was beautiful. I tried Weller SR 45%. That was okay. I tried Willet Pot Still. That's the one in the fancy bottle. Have you seen that? It's about 80 quid.
Yeah.
Really good. Really good. Outstanding. Slightly better than that was Weller Foolproof 57%.
Banger.
I haven't done tasting notes on these. I was just enjoying them whilst watching the TV. Not Star Wars, otherwise I wouldn't have enjoyed them, obviously.
Nope.
I think Weller Foolproof 57% was my favourite one. I know you can't really get hold of that, but I would be tempted by the Willet Pot Still at 47%. It was just really tasty, really rich, like a really good quality bourbon.
It does come out in windows, mate. You can get that at retail, and it's not bad. And if you could ever get a Weller 12...
You've tried the Weller Foolproof, have you?
Yeah, I've had, like, mate, I was picking them up for 30 quid. Love them.
It's very good, isn't it?
If you get Weller 12 and Weller 47, just 50-50, that is Pappy Van Winkle.
Right, okay, all right.
That is a poor man's Pappy.
Poor man's Pappy. I have heard that. I just... So I've got next to me, also from Midland Bourbon, Stag 65%.
Oh, beast.
A Smoke Wagon LV 58% malty barley. So I haven't tried those two from him. I did, of course, send him whiskies in return. I can't remember what I sent him, but good stuff. And I've also tried a sample from John from Chingford, Mr. Strong Handshake. Cadenhead's 14-year-old Royal Brackler Pinot Noir Cask Matured 52.3%. John, I can't wait to try the next two samples. I wasn't a fan of that one. It was too sweet and floral for me. It was all right, but it's not really my vibe. It was slightly too florally sweet, you know, that kind of artificial sweetness. So I think my favourite from the samples this week was probably the Weller 57%. That was very good. Also, had a bunch of Guinness. So we ended up out watching the football, the Chelsea-Tottenham game. I ended up out with El David and Gert, two local dads. And we were having a right old time. So Dads. So we put a bet on, like a joint bet between us. I don't really get gambling, but we put a joint bet on between us, which is always fun. Go into the bookies, you know, whatever it is, 5 for each or something. We'd basically gone on, you had to score more than 3.5 goals, more than 4.5 yellow cards, and more than 10.5 corners. We're like, this game's going to be carnage. Let's get involved. So that always makes the game more fun after a few Guinness. Basically, we got down to the last few seconds, and then El David, like some sort of like he was looking into the future. We needed one more yellow card to win the bet. And he looks at us and he goes, don't worry, lads, the keeper's going to get booked. And the keeper only had the ball for about 5 seconds. And then the referee just booked it, which never happens in any other game. And then we all went ballistic. Then we went down to the bookies to go and claim our winnings, because it's only just opposite the pub. So we went across the road, basically. And then they went, let's just put it on a grey horse race. It was only... what do you call it? Not horse racing, greyhounds, right? I mean, I don't know much about this stuff. And so we did that. We put some of it on the greyhound race that we were watching at the time. And El David put it on, and he basically put the bet on wrong. So all he had to do was we picked 3 that were going to finish in order. And there's 2, I don't know anything about this stuff. There's 2 ways of putting on. One is like try something, the other one's... Anyway, whatever we'd put down, we went absolutely ballistic in the shop, which basically it felt like, I don't really go in betting shops, and it felt like being in a hospital. It was not a good vibe in there.
Like a hospital waiting room.
Yeah, like a hospital
A&E.
waiting room. So it feels like a hospital waiting room there, but just with like noises in the background from machines and people sitting on them. And so we're going absolutely nuts. Then we go over, we have to wait. The anticipation, how much money have we won? Go over to the counter, whatever we'd put on, 15 quid or something, or 20 quid. We only won like 2/3 of that, like, because we put the bet on wrong. So we picked.
Oh, what? You lost money?
We lost money. We picked the 3 dogs to win the race, like to be the first 3 dogs to come over. Which, what are the odds on that?
Fuck off! You put them in order.
No, not in order. If we'd done that, though we did get that correct, we said 1, 2, 4 or whatever. The point is, we didn't put the order. We picked the 3 dogs that were going to finish the first 3, got them all correct, and lost money. So that's what's been up my arse. Then we went over the road. I'm almost finished. Then we went over the road to go and play some pool. We had a nice couple of games of pool in this establishment, which I won't name. And they didn't even have chalk for the pool tables. And I just had a little wobble. I lost a little bit of faith in humanity. 2 pool tables, the only place for miles with 2 pool tables, and they didn't have a single piece of chalk.
What did they say?
They dug around behind
this?
the bar for ages. They got a piece of chalk that had been savaged by a dog. And at least that was something, so we were grateful. But so disappointing. And the last thing that's been up my arse is I turned off predictive text on my phone mic. I tell you why. Because what was happening with predictive text was it has learned all these words wrong. So it kept putting, like, I must have approved a word or something. A word that's not even a word. So then predictive text keeps putting down words that aren't even words, making me look like I literally can't text properly or speak, like I've got some sort of serious problems as a human. So I've turned it off and gone back to non-predictive text, and that's just as infuriating. So I just don't know where to go now.
What you need to do is get a Nokia, what is it, a 702.
Oh, we do the
back in
clicky
the
buttons.
day.
Click.
Lose the
click.
smartphone, just go and click away.
Or I need to...
It'll last for 4 days.
Or I need to start allowing Google or some sort of AI to actually just transcribe my text messages for me and send them, or WhatsApp messages.
I mean, you do piss in voice notes all the time anyway.
No, it's 50-50 really, to be honest. But anyway, that's infuriating. What's in my glass right now to celebrate episode 81? What is 81 in reverse, Mike?
18!
So, and Mike can confirm this because he's looking at my face now from a distance, remotely.
I mean, technically, you've got your background blurred and you're just holding up a random bottle.
You've seen
with
it.
a
I'm
white
going to post a
label.
picture on social media. So I've just cracked open the latest long grower 18-year-old, which I was lucky enough to get hold of one. Lovely. I love the white labels with the purple and the gold. It's a stunning looking bottle. And it is 90% sherry and 10% port at 46%. And it smells like heaven itself.
Oh.
It's all...
Have you poured it yet?
Yeah, poured it.
Nice.
I've been letting it
it's a
sit
nice
whilst
colour.
we've been having a chat. It's like berries, fudge, chocolate. It's heavenly. Like a workshop. Yeah, if you were like eating berries, fudge, chocolate, caramel, that type of stuff in a workshop. It's like that, really.
You can tell you've done an SMWS episode.
Yeah. Some of that was top wankery, the SMWS episode. Yeah, 100%. Oh, dear me. Matt could recall all the names of the bottles he'd ever tried that were significant to him.
Really?
Yeah, he was like some sort of like a Rain Man type fella. Yeah.
Good effort.
So anyway, I'm about to have a sip of this and see what it's like. So chin, cheers.
Cheers.
Absolutely delicious.
What are your immediate score out of 5?
5.
Shut up.
Yeah, 5.
Really?
Yeah, the Longo 18s are some of my favourite from Springbank. If it'd be 4.5, but if I have to go for an integer, then 5. It wouldn't be a 4, it'd be a 5. But it's too early to tell. Let me give it a bit of time and then I'll decide. Definite 4, maybe a 5. How's that sound?
Sounds good to me.
So, you were telling me about some auction buys and just your general purchasing power in the month of December.
So, yeah. What have I bought? 2 bottles of the Ardnaho Society cask,
Well done.
which is delightful. And I will hands down say that's my whiskey of the year 2024.
Wow, that's quite the statement. It is very good. That's your whiskey of the year.
Absolutely love it. Everything about it, just tick, 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 tick.
Yeah, I did say it's very tasty.
I want more. That's the most difficult thing, is not having more, because I just want to.
You've got 2 bottles.
I know, but I reckon that wouldn't last long if I just let myself be unleashed, which I will not do. So yeah, bought a few other things, but auction-wise, I've had a few bargains, mate, I think.
And see, generally, you don't get bargains so much in the month of December and November. So what's going on?
Well, I think, yeah, I was expecting a wider variety of bargains, given that how negative people are being about the whiskey industry, which might not be the case. Although people are buying bottles for other people for Christmas and things, so maybe that's just a little boost on pricing that you're not really in key with the normal things. But let me run through. So I picked up 4 bottles. I think I've done all right. So Compass Box Experimental Grain.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Retail, 100 quid.
Right.
46%. Have a guess.
45 quid.
35.
Pocket.
Ferg and Harris, 12-year-old Speyside, aged in PX, 55.7%. Retail, 70 quid.
Okay. 35 quid.
40.
Oh, okay. All right. That seems more reasonable, really. I don't see why that would be super cheap. They've got really stunning packaging anyway.
Beautiful. It's over my.
You just got me excited with the first one with the.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh mate, it's not. It doesn't end there.
Okay.
I'm gonna switch the order around. You mentioned it briefly pre-episode of other ideas we've got, and it was a celebrity showdown. We want to do ZZ Top versus Beyonce.
Yeah.
So I picked up the Sir Davis bourbon.
Shut up.
Yeah, 45 quid.
You didn't let me guess,
mate.
Mike. Oh.
No, I'm just going you straight in because that's not an amazing price, but it's still good to me.
So what's that after fees then? 45 quid,
so
50 quid.
I'll run off fees.
Postage, 60 quid-ish. 60 quid-ish.
Yeah, probably less than that. And then I will let you guess this one. So Rasse.
Yeah.
Single cask.
Don't say Chica Pin.
Made for the whiskey shop. No, Oloroso.
Okay.
Retail 99. 60.7% ABV.
I'm going to go with 50.
40.
Wow, that's a bargain.
Yeah.
If Dan from Somerton's listening, Dan, that Rasse that you flogged us for 50 quid, right?
So my calculations over retail, I've saved 195 quid.
Yeah.
And I reckon I could knock off around 30 for fucking fees or maybe 40 for shipping. So I reckon I've saved 160 quid would be a given.
There's some interesting purchases there. I really like the Rasses. After the whole Rasse tasting on blind trams, I mean, I'm a bit of I'm an enthusiast now, right? I mean,
it's because you got the fucking hat. That's why.
Yeah, I'm still wearing that hat daily.
Just in bed.
It's such a beautiful colour. Goes with everything. Black, blue. That's my whole wardrobe it goes with. So the Rasse is good. I'm interested in the Compass Box. And obviously it's great because we can do the Celeb Top Trumps episode now in January, which should be a lot of fun.
Exactly.
So good job,
so
you.
ZZ Top, Balcones. I'm going to say Balcones.
We prefer Balcones. Balcones, it sounds Spanish.
So ZZ Top versus Beyonce.
Yeah.
And it could be good, well timed, because I think Jay-Z's just been caught up in some P. Diddy litigation, hasn't he? So that'll make the news.
Jay-Z. Yeah, good old Jay-Z.
What a shock.
What a shocker.
Yeah, so I'm quite happy with those.
You should be. You should absolutely be over the moon. So good job, you. Now, there's 2 things kind of link in together, because this is just a sort of general catch-up today. But I saw today, posted by Andrew Pad Whiskey on the social media platform known as X, that Woodrow's have done a diss track reply to Signatory Vintage 100 proof.
Yeah.
It's like 101 proof, Highlands mother-loving something, which is 57.7%, and is basically first fill Oloroso and first fill Pedro American Oak Pedro Jimenez. Macallan, according to the listing on the website. And who's to say it isn't? I mean, there's so much Macallan knocking about these days. Who hasn't got a few casks of Macallan to vat together and stick out for £48 this bottle?
One of the bars that was the first one to get hold of the bottles and was selling it by the dram described it as being from Teletubby Hill. So that's just another Macallan checkpoint.
But did you see what they wrote on the bottle? They wrote a race to the bottom, and that's what kind of ties it together. Because whilst on one hand you have to say hats off to Woodrow's for putting out this release at such a low price. Obviously, there's a bit of a jibe at Signatory Vintage. You're putting out loads and loads of whiskey under 50 quid, 45 to sort of 48 quid. So on one hand, Woodrow's, if you're a punter, that's a great buy. So thanks. On the other hand, they're kind of saying it isn't fair that Signatory Vintage are putting out lots of cheap whiskey.
What they've said, Woody was out on a run last week and just basically got the arse and was fed up. So he came up with the race to the bottom. And essentially, it's a term used to describe market situations where competitors prioritise market share growth over profitability and keep lowering prices to the point of a net loss to gain enough control over a market, eliminating competitors. So he's taking out, essentially, other indie bottlers with their pricing structure.
Yeah, because
making a loss on
people will buy the bottle of Signatory Vintage instead of another independent bottler because
Yeah.
they've got Kalila. They put Mortlock out this time round.
Yeah.
You're always talking to me about how you can't get any good independent bottled Mortlock, or if you can, you're lucky to get a good price. It's £47.
Yeah.
The last one literally just came out, like number 34 or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's what they're talking about, isn't it?
It's a really interesting thought. Again, we've covered it off. Everyone is reducing their prices at the moment, and that leads nicely into Lagavulin.
Well, and Talisker to an extent, because that's happened tons, hasn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly. All the Diageo special releases, Sean Connery, special releases are getting at certain points
Sean
just
Connery.
absolutely mullered.
Sean Connery's he's not a safe. It's not the character he once was. I mean, he's gone now, isn't he? But I mean, you've got to be careful of Sean Connery.
Yeah, I picked up I didn't even know what it was. I just saw the price drop and grabbed that Lagavulin special release. And it turns out it's tequila casks. Luckily, I like tequila and I don't mind tequila whiskey casks. So happy on that. You shook your head immediately.
I'm not a fan of tequila
I
casks.
told you.
I didn't buy it, even though it was very cheap. So it's not my vibe.
I saw in the news today that on Amazon reduced the 2022 Distillers Edition Lagavulin to like 32 quid. Now, one of my all-time best purchases was the 2015 Distillers Edition from Tesco, yellow label, and that was like £32. And that is like going back some
years.
time.
And so this morning there was a bunch of bottles sold 2022 for 32 quid. I didn't get one. I missed it. But
I missed it.
I will say, being honest, if there was one for £32, I would have bought it.
I would have snuffled up at least two.
Yeah, which is probably why they all sold out, because someone's just bought them. They're just going to ping them on auction.
There will be loads in the next month's auctions. January auction is just going to be Distillers Edition.
Yeah.
But it's weirdly, when I picked mine up was post-Christmas in the yellow sticker reductions in Tesco. So they're getting rid of stock before Christmas.
But it's kind of similar
bizarre.
because like the whole thing around the 80s, the whiskey look there was just an oversupply. There was just too much whiskey and not enough demand. And seeing what Lagavulin, Talisker, part of Diageo are doing, seeing what Signatory Vintage is doing, you have to ask yourself why Signatory Vintage is doing this now. Why are they now just putting out? They're on 34 basically vatted releases of single malt. Putting together
a lot of barrels.
It is, and they haven't said when it's going to stop. Maybe it just goes on. That's kind of an indicator that they've got sitting on too many barrels, too many casks, and they feel the only way to do it is to get rid of it at a lower price. So there is a bit of genuine concern, really, about what's going on at the moment.
Yeah.
For some time, people have been saying there's too much supply and there's not enough demand, and it's now really the demand's kind of waned off a bit, I think, and now that supply is just building up. I mean, we go back a year. We talked to Billy Abbott about how Master of Malt did that end of year extravaganza, just get rid of everything. Do you remember that? Yeah. They would just sale like hardcore sale after sale. It's hard to see what's going to happen next, but I do think that maybe bargains are going to continue for some time. So it depends what your view is on that.
I think so. Even like the Bimbers, there was loads on there yesterday going for like 40 quid, 45 quid.
Yeah, what else did you see on like the
quite
Go
a
on,
lot.
so talk me, because I do have I didn't look the last couple of auctions, but I do generally have a
Penderyn's. There was some single cask port ones, and I was just like, because I'm bidding on the other two, I'm not now going to buy those.
What did they go for then?
I think someone got a single cask Penderyn for 55 quid, Tawny Port again.
What would that be?
Oh, hundreds, if not more, straight from the distillery.
I mean, that's the kind of bottle usually it doesn't go at such a discount.
SMWS, loads of bottlings going for significantly under what they went for straight from SMWS.
Right.
Across the board, that was as well. Cadenheads was bloody cheap as hell. And there was some really interesting old grain whiskies and stuff from Loch Lomond and a few other things. But yeah, there were bargains to be had. And I had to sort of control myself. And I accidentally bid on a Killoman Macchia Bay and bid £35 when you can get it for like 32 delivered. I was like messing about and I was like, click, click. Ah, shit. But luckily someone outbid me and paid 40 for it in the end. I'm like, you fucking idiot.
You're lucky there.
Thank God.
This Longrow 18, it's on the palate. I've had a chance to have a few sips now. It's very mineralic as you'd expect. Slight. Not as heavily peated as I would. It's more in the Octomore bucket of peat. You know,
Okay.
they say how heavily peated it is, but it doesn't feel like that when you're drinking it.
Doesn't translate to the
final dram. So it's actually very gentle, but you can tell that there's that heavy peat in there, but it's not heavy on your palate. It's not heavy on your throat. And it's more of the same, like more mineralic on the palate, but like still that chocolate, still the berries, like a bit of white pepper, but not too much, slightly earthy. This is one you definitely have to try if you don't get a dram from somewhere else. So I'll save you a drop.
Hey, Tam, Christmas party, mate.
This is a sessionable bottle. So remember that time when Quattro Paul came round and we absolutely, we got into a bottle of local barley together. This would be the same thing. Oh no, Springbank 18. We did the same thing with the Springbank 18. This is in that same ballpark where you can and that was the same with the Springbank 18 that I tried from Simon. I would have smashed that bottle if I'd had a bottle. This is the same.
Do you think part of that is the allure of getting caught up in that spring?
No, it's just
vibe.
Because I think a lot of it is because the quality of the whiskey at 46%. So often they manage to get an awful lot of flavour packed into their whiskey at 46%. If it's not a cask strength edition, of course, and that makes it incredibly drinkable. And I think that's where it is. You're getting all that flavour, all those interesting points. It's often very moreish, but your Longer 18, your Springbank 18, your Springbank 15, and the 10, they're all at 46.
Yeah.
I think a lot of whiskey nerds are often drinking cask strength, so then give them a bottle of Springbank 18 or Longer 18 at 46, and then they're going to session it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because...
Yeah, because it's not 55, 57 or 62% or whatever.
Yeah. I'm opening. It's a nice sound. The Compass Box Experimental Whiskey.
What we should do is, so I believe that we're going to have Cliff on. Cliff is he's a contributor to the pod. Sometimes he does some of the music. It's some of the...
You will definitely recognise him from some of the ending tunes.
Absolutely. So Cliff's coming on next and he's going to go through sort of dramathons and running, and we're also going to be reviewing his Die Hard Christmas drams that he's doing. So I'm looking forward to that. And I think in the new year, we're going to have on Murray McDavid's...
Dean Jode.
We're going to be talking about sandwiches.
That is beautiful.
Really? Excellent. Here's something I've actually been considering. We're super close to Christmas now. Yep. So if we listen to this, we recorded this on the 9th of December.
My dad's birthday. Oh, happy birthday, Colin.
Happy birthday.
Even though you don't listen.
Happy birthday, Senior Tupuds. Senor Tupuds. Oh my God, did you see the...
Senor Dos Pud.
Senor Dos Pud. Did you see the picture of my dad at Kendal? Cliff found him.
Oh my God, yes.
God, I think my dad looks younger than I do. So
no.
Anyway, he was at Kendal, and I said to anybody, if you see my dad and you know what he looks like and you can recognise him, go up to him and ask him if he's had any nice. whiskey today. And Cliff managed to locate him and took a picture with him. But
I loved it.
I can confirm for speaking to my dad that Cliff was not man enough to ask my dad if he'd had any nice whiskey, or he's too.
Oh, fuck off!
He was too nice. You know what Cliff's like.
He was too
nice. Yeah, Cliff was too nice to my dad to ask about any
That's the
nice
first
whiskey.
thing I would have done if I'd seen him.
Exactly. Oi, nice whiskey.
Before I started ripping Morag.
Wait, your missus, what's her problem with Wales?
Yeah.
So anyway, when we're up to Christmas, and I really want to be a better person this time. So I want to get organised. I'm terrible with sending stuff to people, not close family, whatever, but particularly like friends and things like that. So I thought I really must sample some stuff up for people as like a little Christmas treat and send it to them, or organise to meet them to give to them. So I've got that written down for this week, because otherwise we're going to go past the postal window, and then that's what's will be up my arse. I would have missed the postal window, and I won't be able to send it on. So I like the idea of people having a little drop over the Christmas holidays and going, oh, thanks, Duncan. Thanks very much for that.
Yeah.
That was really good. So send something nice to people to have. Not Longo 18, not that nice. Not that nice, no. Not Springbank Local Barley nice, not that nice to be. Not Glen Tocker's 1990s, not that nice. You know, something cheaper and nice.
So you're basically sending out Cutty Sark Prohibition.
I've got loads of good stuff in the cupboard that needs to be shared. Just not Longer 18. That's all for me.
Yeah.
And the
Send the bimbers out. You got loads of samples of bimber, haven't you?
Yeah. I've got to get through the latest samples. But you got a pack too, didn't you?
No, I didn't get anything. I didn't get anything from Bimber. No.
I'm actually waiting to go and take a picture of my my the Churchill bottle next to the Churchill statue. So I'll be doing that soon. I have had plenty of opportunities, and I'm like, oh, it's like a mile away. I can't be bothered.
You got to go in a vest with England on the front. England.
I'm not sure I'll be in
on
the picture,
front,
to be fair.
shave your head, or you've got to go full like rain jacket, hat with a cigar.
I can do a cigar, a rain jacket, and a hat. I can do.
We will outdrink them on the beaches. We will outdrink them in the bars.
What is the actual quote? We'll fight them on the beaches.
Yeah,
it must be fight. We'll drink them on the beaches is a better quote, yeah. That's my Christmas run-up plans. I need to get organised, get some drams out to people, and start to get in the festive spirit with only 16 days to go.
Which, you say that though, modern times, that's frigging plenty of time, dude.
That's true.
I'm not even remotely stressed about Christmas, and I have bought nothing.
I can't imagine you ever get stressed about things like Christmas.
I mean, the Christmas spirit is strong in me, but more for just going out and getting pissed. But
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Different ball game now, isn't it?
We've planned the day after Boxing Day a little jaunt around Bury St Edmunds.
Oh, nice.
The lads with a Z.
Well, I'm heading back to Wales. 17th, we're going to, I want to say Cirencester again for a night, and then a little break before I get to Cardiff.
Very nice.
See the folks and get back to civilization. Once I've swapped presents, let them see the child, and then
there you go.
It's just
hold the the child to the window.
Here's a picture,
and then you're back in the car. You're off.
Now I can get back home and start drinking for Christmas.
Yeah. You can't.
Just need to get that drive in out the way.
Can't relax until you get home. Then you can relax.
No.
That's a mental thing.
Well, it's weird. Like, do you ever go like one Christmas at your folks, one Christmas at Maria's?
So for years, we used to do, because we lived in villages about 3.5 miles apart. So we would do, we could do both in one day, but it would be the percentage of the day. So we would do, for example, I would be with the Christmas morning at 1 and Christmas afternoon. It would all depend where the lunch was consumed. And if you were lucky, a bit like in famous sitcom things, if I really got lucky in the timings, I could make lunch at one place, help serve it, eat the lunch, then walk 3.5 miles and go and have a second dinner.
Double dinner.
And on something like Christmas Day, double dinner is 100% worth it. You can always make space. Just thinking ahead to how many calories it is you're going to... Like the average person consumes something like 8,000 calories on Christmas Day.
Even like Christmas morning, smoked salmon, scrambled eggs.
That's healthy. What are you talking about?
With a glass of champagne.
Yeah, well...
That's my Christmas morning. We're going to do 1 year Lara's folks, 1 year just us, then 1 year my folks.
Right. So it's a 3-year cycle.
We're building in a break into the normal 2-year cycle.
Okay. You could do what you could do is you could do 1 year your folks, then 1 year at home together, and then 1 year away together on holiday, and then 1 year with your folks. And that way you only have to do it 2 and 4.
We can do a post-event debrief to see how the family behaves.
Exactly.
If they're playing up, then
Yeah,
long-term study, but
make sure to tell them at the time. Just
really
say,
idea.
just to warn you, that behaviour might mean we don't come again for 10 years.
That's a really, really good idea.
Really good idea.
I like that. I'm going to take that.
Are you sure you want to win at Trivial Pursuit? It's just that might mean I might be less likely to come in a few years.
Jesus, that does remind me of when I was a kid going to my dad's family side of things for Christmas. And they would always end up like proper party, like loads of booze in and stuff. And then Trivial Pursuit would come out. And my dad and one of my aunties would basically nearly end up in a fist fight over Trivial Pursuit because they just both so strong-minded and argumentative.
It's an intense game, Trivial Pursuit. And it also, you can't win it quickly. There's an element of frustration to it just because it takes so long anyway.
Yeah.
And even when you can see you're going to win, you have to be patient and wait another like 45 minutes until you've actually won. And other board games aren't like that. When you can see you're going to win, generally you're going to win in like about 5 to 10 minutes. But not with that game. When you know you've pretty much got it wrapped up, you're too far ahead, you still got to wait patiently. Yeah. Trivial Pursuit's best played in a room with music on, with loads of nibbles on the table, where no one's really generally paying that much attention.
I think it should be banned. And the only game allowed should be Giant Jenga or Twister.
That's Twister's. You're an absolute lunatic. Twister on Christmas Day after all those calories. No, I can't imagine.
Someone throw it up, but you can wipe it down.
Stop slipping in my sick.
Left foot vomit.
I can't be arsed this. I just want to have a glass of port. No, just stay involved. Just if you can, just put your arm over. No, not in my crotch.
Oh, shit in the yellow circle at the back.
Yeah. So I've finished the longer 18. I'm going to have just 2 whiskeys today for me. Healthy pour. So a sip and a sniff of this Stag 65% that everybody talks so much about. This is my first time. I already got my nose near it. It's out. It is wow. I mean, you don't even need to get your nose in the glass. You could just be in the same room as this to do nosing notes.
I'm pretty convinced that'll be a Stag Junior because that's the super strong one, like 64%.
65 it says on it.
Yeah, I like giving that to people.
Goodness me.
To see how their body reacts to it.
I couldn't find the implement that you use to trim your nose hair, but I don't need that anymore because I just stuck my nose fully in this glass and it's burnt everything on the insides.
Is it a nice? It's good nose though, isn't it?
Oh, it's just I find it harder to do nosing and tasting notes with a lot of bourbons.
They're very similar. That's why, because it's cherries and
vanilla, and sometimes if you're lucky a bit of chocolate. Sometimes if you're really lucky a bit of tobacco. But I still love them. Mm-hmm. Look, it's simple whiskey for simple people. I don't mean that. I don't mean that. Look.
Thank you to 18% of our listeners. I think he's just called you thick.
No, I absolutely love a bourbon. You know that.
Yeah.
But it's a narrower profile, to be fair. But it's right on the money, isn't it? So
depends how complex the mash bill can go. But
well, MGP can be more complex for sure, because they do all kinds of mash bills.
Yeah, that's why I'm quite interested in getting down and dirty with the Balcones ZZ Top.
Oh well, Balcones can be really wacky, like just all over the shop. But they do single malts as well. They do single malts. Yeah,
I got another one over Texas bourbon from Balcones.
This Stag 65%, whatever it is very close to Old Forester.
Oh yeah. Yep. Old Forester Prohibition, yes.
It's very similar to that. Very good. Drinks very well for 65%.
Yeah, it's like oil. It's that.
Oh, so oily, isn't it? It does have that little bit of kick at the end when you know you're drinking a 65% whiskey. Rich in vanilla, rich in the cherries. It has got that sort of slightly peanut brittle note on the end. And that's actually what Matt was saying in the last pod. He was saying it's harder and harder to get bourbons that have that note. This has that note on the finish.
I wish I'd been on that podcast with him because it's not hard to get that note.
Well, that's what he said.
You just need to get anything from Jim Beam.
The record has stood corrected.
Yeah. If you want like a nice peanutted bourbon, Jim Beam Black, or really wacky is the Jim Beam Devil's Cut. I think it's like a slightly lower ABV. It might be 43 or 46. Usually super cheap. And basically they compress the bourbon barrels once they've emptied it to get that extra whiskey that's held in the wood out. And it's just super oaky, super peanutty, super fruity. Really, really good stuff for what is deemed a shit whiskey.
There is other stuff going on beyond the standard usual stuff. Hard to pinpoint. Yeah. There is something, it's not minty, it doesn't spearmint to me, but there's something in that kind of ballpark.
Dill?
It's hard to say. And also almost like a slight sort of sausagey sizzle to it as well on the nose.
What, sausagey sizzle?
Ever so faint. I mean, really faint. There's also
it would be remiss of me not to ask you to just divulge a sausagey sizzle.
You know, like if you cook in sausages, you get that kind of slight that in some oil. You're frying them, and you get like a little whiff of that. Not when you're eating them, when you're cooking them. There's also a floral note to it as well, actually, and I'm not quite sure what kind of floral note because again, it's packing a lot of punch, and every time I get near it, it's kicking my eyes. It's giving my eyes problems. I should have worn goggles.
You don't have to get upset about it, though.
It's just an emotional moment.
Tears running down his face.
Anyway, it's really good. Again, Midlands bourbon. Thank you very much.
Good samples.
Good samples. Top samples. All right. So if you like the podcast, you listen to it on Apple or Spotify. We appreciate if you can leave us a lovely review. We also have a t-shirt shop, and we probably should update that a bit. And you can buy us a coffee or buy us a dram. We won't spend it on coffee. We're too tight for that.
I mean, we won't really spend it on drams either because there's like 10 in there from Alan.
But buy us a dram. Thank you very much. It encourages us to continue making this content that you so enjoy listening to.
For free!
Freedom!
If you like the podcast, you can follow us at honesttoamalt.com and on all social medias under at honesttoamalt. Duncan's on at Whiskey Tip. I'm on at Whiskey Wings. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye. Bye. Bye.